couldn't breathe, not because the room was too small or the air too thick, but because what I was seeing, what I had just uncovered, was enough to suffocate everything I had believed in. There it was, staring back at me, a permanent, unshakable testament to everything I had feared. The tattoo. It was the kind of thing you only see in nightmares. A grotesque mockery that dug into my chest and tore me apart. The artist had always been a bit smug, a little too self-assured in her talents, but I never expected this. This wasn't art. This wasn't self-expression. No, this was a weapon, one she had branded onto herself. And it was aimed directly at me. The rage exploded in my chest before I even processed what I was looking at. QR code. And just below it, a phrase etched in bold letters, public place. My stomach dropped, and the world blurred around me as the weight of it hit. A fucking QR code. She had branded herself with my shame. No, not just mine, ours. A permanent declaration of everything I had feared about our relationship, about her and about me. This wasn't some private joke. It was a message, meant to be seen, scanned, shared, for the whole world to know, to witness, to judge. I staggered back. How could she do this? How could she laugh in my face like this? She had promised me trust, but this was a betrayal I couldn't even name. There was no coming back from this. No sorry could undo it. She had taken my loyalty, and in return, she had painted me with this permanent, bleeding mark. But what cut deeper was that she was proud of it. Proud to wear it like a badge, as though she was defying some imagined enemy. I stared at her as she lay there, oblivious, at peace. But I wasn't at peace. No, the anger inside me was rising. It burned hotter than I ever thought possible. I took one long, shuddering breath, and I knew what had to happen. I had to make her understand. There would be no forgiveness. Not this time. The tattoo wasn't just a design. It wasn't just ink on skin. It was a public execution of everything I had ever shared with her. Our bond, our trust, everything. She had tattooed that QR code, a digital link to my shame, and beneath it, those two cold words, public place. I could feel my heartbeat thundering in my chest as I tried to wrap my mind around what this meant. I stumbled backward, the room spinning. It wasn't enough for her to betray me privately. No, she needed the world to see it, to know it. She wanted it broadcasted, immortalized, a mark so visible it could never be erased. And as I stood there, staring at the tattoo, I realized this wasn't a mistake. This wasn't an impulsive decision. She had thought this through, planned it, and executed it with terrifying precision. The weight of what this meant pressed down on me. The tattoo wasn't just her doing something reckless in the heat of the moment. No, this was something deliberate. A statement. A declaration of control over me, over what we had shared. She didn't just want me to hurt. She wanted everyone to know the betrayal, to see it for what it was. It was like she was shouting it from the rooftops. Look at what I did. Look at how easily I can tear this apart. I took another step closer, my mind spinning, trying to process. Was this really happening? Could this be real? How could she possibly think that this was okay? I thought back to the days we spent together, the trust, the loyalty, but now it felt like nothing more than an illusion, a game she had played all along. I wanted to scream, to shake her awake, but I couldn't. She was gone. That person, the one I thought I knew, didn't exist anymore. What was left was someone who had marked herself, not with the art of a tattoo, but with the cruelest of intentions. And I couldn't ignore it. This had to be addressed. It was time for her to face the consequences of her choices. But before I acted, before I decided what came next, I couldn't help but feel a deep sense of betrayal. This was not just a personal attack. No, this was an open, public humiliation, and that was something I couldn't let slide. I couldn't undo what had been done, but I could make her feel it. The world would know. The world would see what she had done. I'm sure you're feeling the intensity of this betrayal right along with the protagonist. What are your thoughts? Do you think the revenge is justified? Drop a comment below to let me know what you think. And tell me, where are you watching from? I'd love to hear your thoughts on the story so far. What's coming next? Trust me, it's only going to get more intense. Stay tuned. The moment I saw it, I knew there was no going back. The tattoo wasn't just an act of betrayal. It was an invitation. An invitation to a war, and I was going to make sure she lost. I felt the rage simmer inside me. But this time, it was different. I wasn't going to act on impulse. No, this time I would plan. The anger coursing through me wasn't going to waste. It would fuel something bigger, something more destructive. She had made a decision, and now it was my turn. I could already hear her voice in my head. It's just a tattoo. You're taking it too seriously. But it wasn't just about the tattoo, was it? It wasn't even about the tattoo artist anymore. It was about everything she had taken from me. The trust, the intimacy, the quiet promises we had made. And now, with this one vile act, she had turned that all to dust. I gripped the edge of the counter, trying to steady my breathing. The anger was no longer a chaotic storm inside me. It was cold, controlled, ruthless. This was more than just a slap in the face. It was a public display. And that meant she wanted the world to see it, to know what she had done. Fine. If she wanted the world to know about us, then they were going to get the full story. But it wouldn't just be her name in lights. No, I would destroy her. Not just ruin her reputation. No, that would be too easy. I was going to take everything from her. Her clients, her career, her identity. I would make sure she knew the true cost of betraying me. And the best part? I would watch it all unfold, knowing she could never undo it. I could feel the fire of revenge burning in my veins. Every second that passed, my plan began to take shape. I would make sure she could never tattoo again. Never show her face in public without the reminder of what she had done. It would be devastating, and the world would know. She had brought this upon herself. What do you think, guys? Does revenge ever really feel sweet? Or does it just leave a hollow void behind? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time to hit that button. The story's only getting darker, and you won't want to miss a single moment. The plan was set in motion, and I couldn't wait to see her crumble. She thought she could mark me, make me the joke for the world to see. But now the tables had turned. It was time to make her the joke. Time to take everything from her. I started by gathering every bit of information I could. Who were her clients? Who had trusted her with their bodies? Who had paid her to turn their skin into art? I reached out to them quietly behind the scenes. A whispered word here, a message there. It was time to expose her for what she was. I made sure the rumors spread fast. The tattoo artist with the smug smile, the one who thought she could get away with humiliating me. She wasn't going to walk away from this unscathed. People started talking. They started questioning her professionalism, her integrity. Small doubts turned into big ones. Her reputation, once pristine, began to crack, and I was there, watching it all unravel. I didn't stop there. I contacted people in the industry, other tattoo artists, the ones who would judge her most harshly. I made sure they knew everything. I made sure they understood the kind of person she was, and what kind of message she was sending to anyone who trusted her. Public place. Those two words were all they needed. It was a red flag, a sign of what she had done, and I made sure they saw it. Her name, her shop, everything she had worked for, ruined. Within days, her studio was a ghost town. No one was coming in. The phone stopped ringing. And those who did walk in looked at her differently now. She could see the change in their eyes. They knew. They all knew. The whispers got louder, and her defenses crumbled. Clients pulled back, afraid of what might be associated with her name. Those who had once stood by her, trusted her, now turned their backs. She couldn't hide from the truth. She couldn't hide from the consequences of what she had done. And the best part? She was clueless. She had no idea who was behind it, who was methodically destroying her. I was in control now, a puppet master pulling the strings, and she was helpless, watching it all slip through her fingers. I couldn't help but feel a twisted satisfaction as I saw her studio decline. The space that once buzzed with energy and excitement now felt cold, dark, abandoned. Her world was falling apart, and there was nothing she could do to stop it. Then came the phone call. I knew it was coming. The tone in her voice was desperation. mixed with confusion. "What's going on?" she asked. "Why is everyone turning on me?" I stayed silent for a moment, savoring the moment. "You should have thought about that before you made your permanent mark. Public place, remember?" She was speechless, but I could hear the panic rising. She realized then that this wasn't just a tattoo. This wasn't just a joke. This was the end. And it was all my doing. Was it the right move to destroy her career like this? Or is there more to the story than just revenge? I want to hear your thoughts. The silence that followed felt heavy, suffocating. It was over. The tattoo artist was finished. Her career in ruins. Her reputation shattered. I had done what I set out to do, and yet, as I stood there looking at the wreckage I had caused, I couldn't shake the gnawing feeling in the pit of my stomach. I had taken everything from her, her clients, her friends, her livelihood. I had made sure the world saw what she had done, and the consequences had followed. But why did it feel like this was all for nothing? I stood outside her studio, staring at the empty windows, the lights now turned off for good. The place that once thrived with life, with laughter and ink, was now nothing more than an abandoned shell. The shutters were down, the door locked, and the sign hanging crookedly, a permanent reminder of the destruction I had unleashed. I had thought that when this moment came, when she finally felt the weight of her own actions, it would feel satisfying. I thought that maybe, just maybe, the hollow ache inside me would be replaced with something like peace. But all I felt was emptiness. The satisfaction of revenge, the thrill of watching her crumble, was nothing compared to the price I had paid. There was no victory here. There was only a moment of fleeting relief followed by a lingering void. I had destroyed her, but in doing so, I had destroyed a part of myself too. As I walked away from the empty studio, I realized something I hadn't expected. Revenge wasn't sweet. It wasn't justice. It was just another form of loss, a dark echo of the pain I had felt before. The tattoo artist might have been the one to betray me, but in the end, I was the one left with the scar. And that, I realized, was the true consequence of what had happened. She might have lost everything, but so had I. There was no going back from this. No way to fix what had been broken. I was alone. So what do you think, guys? Was the revenge worth it? Or does it leave more scars than satisfaction? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let's talk about it. Have you ever been in a situation where revenge seemed like the answer, but left you with nothing but emptiness? Let me know where you're watching from too. I love hearing from all of you. If you're enjoying these intense, emotional stories, make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out. Trust me, there's much more coming. And remember, sometimes the hardest battles are the ones we fight within ourselves. Stay tuned for more.